welcome to another episode of the Couch Warrior podcast. As always, I'm your host, Mike, and today we're going to be breaking down UFC Vegas 74. It's a pretty good card, 13 fights. I like the main event a lot. Flyweight main event, we don't get to see those too often, so looking forward to that one. Real quick before we continue the show, I'm just going to put something up on Twitter to let the people know we've already begun, and then we're going to hop right into the card. So let me just do this real quick. All right. That's all done, and we're going to hop right into the card now with our very first fight. We've got Maxim Grishin versus Philipe Lins. Grishin 32, 9 and 2. 39 years old. He's 6'3" with the 76-inch reach. And in terms of his camp, let me see if I've got something different than what it says. I don't, so we're going to have to go with Akhmat Fight Club. Lins on the other side, he's 16, 5 and 0. He's going to be 2 years younger at 37. Neither of these guys are a spring chicken. 6'2", he's going to be 1 inch shorter. He's going to have a 2-inch reach advantage, and he's training out of American Top Team. So for this fight, I mean, the line's close, and I think that's correct. A lot of people really hated on Philipe Lins, and then the Marcin Prachnio fight happened. He won that fight, looked a lot better, had come down to 205 from heavyweight. And it was an okay look. He used his wrestling. His striking looked pretty good. And then he knocks out OSP. And now I'm seeing all this love for him. And it's just kind of surprising because he never got this love before. But he knocks out an ancient OSP, and all of a sudden, people are all over him. So for me, I think Grishin is going to win this fight. I think he's the better man. In terms of striking, I think he's the better striker. I really like how he puts together his punches and kicks. It's very fluid, and I'm a big fan. He could wrestle, not really his thing. The big problem for me here is his takedown defense. I don't think it's very good. And while Lins isn't some kind of D1 wrestler, he is a pretty good wrestler. So I'm tempted to play Grishin. I haven't gotten there yet. I do think he's going to outstrike Lins. I do think he'll get back up if he gets taken down. And the thing with Lins is I'm not a huge fan of the cardio. It's hard for me to tell exactly, but it doesn't seem very good to me. And with Grishin, I think his cardio is pretty good. He holds up, keeps it going, and I think he should be fine. My like big problem was the William Knight fight, where first of all, he didn't throw much at his hands. It was almost purely just leg kicks and stuff. And also, he got taken down 3 times by William Knight. He didn't get held down, so that's good. But getting taken down by William Knight, not a great look. No longer in the UFC, and I believe he lost his first fight outside of the UFC as well. So yeah, that's a problem. That's a concern, Grishin getting taken down. But if he's not, and if he's getting back up, while Lins is a decent striker, I actually think he's pretty good. I like the combinations. He can get a little bit wild on the feet, whereas Grishin is a little bit more tight, compact, and I think it's just going to be a little bit cleaner when it comes to the striking. So for me here, I have to go with Maxim Grishin. I think the line at -128 is pretty good. I would have probably lined this more like -150 Grishin. I think it might have opened closer to that, but I do think he's the rightful favorite. I think -128 is a pretty good price. If I do play it, as always, it'll be posted on my Twitter at Couch Warrior Pod, so make sure to check that one out. And I'll be honest, I do think I'm going to get to a play here. I do. What the stake will be, how much I'm putting down, I don't know yet, so we're going to have to wait and see. But can Grishin get knocked out? Maybe. I don't really expect it. He's been knocked out 2 times. One of those people is Magomed Ankalaev. That was in 2016, and the other knockout came in 2013. And he's had a billion fights since then, has not been knocked out. So it's kind of hard for me to see Lins knocking him out. And then, like, is he going to get just out grappled for 15 minutes? I don't think so by Lins. And is he going to get out struck on the feet without a knockout? No, I really don't think so. So I like Grishin here. I think he's going to win. Going to have to exercise some caution. He hasn't fought in like, I think, over a year now, which is not a great look at all. He has like 2 or 3 canceled fights. I'm not exactly sure why they were canceled, but yeah, I'm going to stop beating a dead horse. Lins could get this done if he mixes in his grappling and his striking. But me personally, I think that Grishin's going to be able to handle it all, and I think he's going to come away with the decision win. One prop that kind of has my interest is Lins by submission. Lins has a decent ground game, and he's pretty good at getting to the back. And Grishin's been submitted 4 times. So it would be kind of shocking, but it seems like an interesting way to play it if you like Linz. I think the prop is at like plus 800 for the submission. So I don't hate it if you like Linz. I don't like Linz here. I like Grishin. So if I play anything, it's just going to be the money line. I'm going to say what's up to my guy CT real quick. 3 bantamweight underdogs on the card, and he likes all of them, especially Blackshear. Okay. Gonna have to talk about that one. Was on Grishin before the cancellation, but staying away this time. Glad I had a chance to change my mind. Yeah, I can't blame anyone passing on this because it does seem to me like a very close fight. Something that does make me feel better is that Grishin outstruck Dustin Jacoby, and I think we all agree, not all, but I think like 80% of us agree that Grishin won that fight. He did not lose that fight. It's BS. And to outstrike a kickboxer like Dustin Jacoby, it does give me a little more confidence that he's going to be able to do the same thing with Philipe Linz. Now, I know a lot of people are pointing at the fact that he's 39. Linz is 37, guys. The difference is it's the same shit. So I wouldn't go into this saying, oh, Grishin's this old man. He's like OSP. He's going to get knocked out. No, I think it's very different. I don't think he's washed like OSP. I think he's far from washed, even at this age. And again, Linz is 37. He's not that much younger. So we're going to move on. Grishin's the pick in terms of a bet. Like I told you guys, we're going to have to wait and see. But we're going to move on to a fight that CT actually just brought up. We've got Luan Lacerda versus Damon Blackshear. Lacerda, he's 12-2-0. He's 30 years old. 5'7" with the 73-inch reach, and I do have him training out of Nova União. On the other side, Blackshear, 12-5-1. He's going to be 2 years younger at 28. 3 inches taller, 1 inch reach disadvantage, and he's at Jackson Wink. So for me, I actually got Lacerda pretty early. I got him at plus 113, so I actually got him as an underdog. He's now the favorite. Look, as the favorite, it's less tempting to me. I don't know if I would have played it at these odds, but I do think that he should win. I think he was the rightful favorite. I think he should have opened as the favorite, and he didn't. So I took advantage of it. I hope some of you guys did as well. At this price tag, it's questionable. By the end of the day, I think removing all odds, removing betting, I think Lacerda wins the fight. So breaking it down, though, neither of these guys is a big striker. You look at it, Lacerda has 0 knockout wins, 14 fights. He's never knocked anybody out. And then Blackshear, he's got 18 fights, and he's got 1 knockout. So literally neither of them are knocking people out, really. And if I had to break down their striking and tell you who's better, I think it's Lacerda. I think Lacerda is the better striker. I watched Blackshear, and he seems pretty uncomfortable on the feet. He's not really doing much. Low output, mostly kicks. He's got some decent combinations. And it's not like Lacerda's this amazing boxer, kickboxer. He's not. But he's a pretty good striker. And when you put the two next to each other, you watch the tape, I personally feel that Lacerda is going to have a decent amount of an edge over Blackshear in the striking. And then we go to the grappling, right? Because we're dealing with 2 grapplers. Blackshear, he's a wrestler. I looked up his credentials. To me, it appears like he's never done anything outside of high school. His wrestling since then in MMA has looked good, but he's also getting taken down a lot, right? You look at it. Forget the Basharat brother fight, right? Because Basharat is a very high-level guy. But even in other fights, Zalal took him down. He's been taken down in regionals too. Normally, it's his wrestling that's getting the job done. But if he can't get it going, he has a hard time winning these fights. And Lacerda, so his takedown defense, the stats show 100% on UFC stats, but he only had 1 fight. He did fight Cody Stamann. Stamann shot twice and didn't get any of them, so that's pretty impressive. But watching on the regionals, a problem I had was sometimes either he'd shoot and his opponent would sprawl and he'd just go to his back, or sometimes his opponent would shoot and he'd just go to his back because he's that confident in his jiu-jitsu. I hate backing people like that. I almost never do. Not a fan. But his takedown defense is good, and it has been shown. And he didn't do that stupid stuff against Stamann. He didn't try to go on his back and pull guard. And against a guy like Blackshear, his takedown defense in the UFC is 42%. Zalal got him down. Zalal controlled him. He got taken down by Basharat. Got controlled. So the truth is, when he's fighting guys who are better grapplers than him, even though he's a great wrestler, he's still getting taken down. He's still getting controlled. He got his back taken by freaking Zalal. if Lacerda gets his back, like if you tell me right now, Lacerda takes Blackshear's back, I'd be all over the sub. All over the sub. Because I think he's going to finish. Lacerda is nasty on the ground. I actually really, really like what I see. Offensively, great, slick, great transitions. And defensively, he uses it really well. He can scramble really well. So if Blackshear's taking him down, I don't think Blackshear can hold him down. I think he's going to be just too much. He's going to scramble just a bit too much for Blackshear. So because I give Lacerda the striking, because I give Lacerda the jiu-jitsu, I guess I'll give Blackshear the wrestling, but it's close. Because of all those things, I have to like Lacerda. I got him as an underdog, so I'm very happy with that. Like I said earlier, at these odds, it's getting a little bit, I don't blame anyone who's taking a shot on Blackshear. Lacerda has shown that he can be taken down because he's willing to go down there. So if Blackshear is shooting and Lacerda's just pulling guard, Blackshear might very well win that fight if he doesn't get submitted. And Lacerda, from bottom, it's not necessarily where he's getting most of his submissions. It's usually coming from up top. So if he's doing that stupid thing of pulling guard, Blackshear is super live. But I think Lacerda should have been the favorite. I think he's at the correct price now. It's going to be close. And at this price, I don't know if I want to tell you to play his money line. All I'm going to say is that's who I think wins. And then you have to assess the price. Because me personally, I think I'd be passing at this price. But I know some people like to just pick winners. So I think Lacerda wins. I think he probably wins by decision. This is one of those fights where I expect a grapple fest. I played a similar play in the Chase Hooper Fiore fight. I played fight goes to decision at plus 195. And my logic was, I think we're going to get a scramble fest. And when we get these scramble fests, very often we go longer than we do like shorter. The fights tend to extend when you have two really good grapplers. So it's going to be super interesting. Fight goes to decision is something that's in my mind that I'm considering. I know a few sharp people, my guy MMA Propaholic, who are on the under, which I totally understand. I mean, you're looking at two guys. Lacerda, 10 submission wins. Blackshear, 8 submission wins. Neither too much with the KOs, but they're finishing. That said, because they're both mostly grapplers, that's why I think we might go the distance. Because if Lacerda can't submit Blackshear and Blackshear can't submit Lacerda, I don't see a knockout. So we're probably going to go to a decision. So if I had to, I would probably play fight goes. Let me tell you what the odds are there, because I'm actually kind of curious too. All right, so fight goes is minus 155. I don't think that's playable. I do think we go the distance, but I'm going to stop beating the dead horse once again. Lacerda is my pick. I did get him at an underdog price. Minus 148 makes me not as interested, but Lacerda is my pick. I'm going to address the chat real quick. So let's see. Blackshear's grappling transitions are crazy. I saw this man turn a flying knee into a back take. That's why the Blackshear sub at plus 1,300 to me is very interesting. I might use that as a form of a hedge. Maybe put a tenth of a unit to win 1.3. Because it's his path, right? I don't see him grinding out Lacerda. I don't see him outstriking Lacerda. If he's going to win, I think he has to submit the guy. Lacerda has been submitted one time. It was in like 2014 or something against Ari Farias. But it's gonna be really interesting on the ground. And at plus 1,300 for a sub on Blackshear, I don't think it's a bad look. Lacerda opened plus 195. Yeah, whoever did that got fired. I promise you. Damon was about 2 minutes of control time from beating Basharat. Yeah, it would be a very different conversation, but also, like me personally, I don't think the younger Basharat is nearly as good as his older brother. So, and then let's see. I mean, Steve, I was talking about it before you put this out. For me, yeah, he's a wrestler, but he's not always the best wrestler when he's fighting guys who can also grapple. He's also getting taken down. And I agree 100%. Lacerda does go to his back more often than I'm comfortable with. But we saw guys like Zalal reverse Blackshear and take his back. So why can't Lacerda reverse? Lacerda's scrambling ability, in my opinion, is very, very good. and a lot better than Zalalis. His jiu-jitsu, in my opinion, is a lot better than Zalalis. So is it impossible that Blackshear gets the better of the wrestling exchanges? No. But me personally, I think that when he takes him down, he's going to get reversed, or Lacerda is going to scramble and get back on his feet. But fair points. And we're going to move on to the next fight. Let me turn on my AC. I'm getting hot. All right. Next up, we've got Jinh Frey versus Elise Reed. One of these times where I got my ass reverse CLV'd. Frey, 11-8-0. She's 5'3", 65-inch reach. She's 38 years old. And for her gym, I know that she has her own gym now, Frey MMA. And I think she's still also training at Fortis, but that's just what I'm seeing from her Instagram. Reed, 6'3-0. She's 30. She's going to be 8 years younger. Same height, 2-inch reach disadvantage, kickside martial arts for her. I'll be honest. I don't get what people are doing. I don't understand it. I don't get why people are playing Reed. I really don't. Even as an underdog. My dumbass played Frey at -145 because in my head, I was like, what is this? Like, she should be wider. And it seems that the public or people with a lot of money strongly disagree with me. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because Reed out-wrestled Melissa Martinez, but a lot of us going into that fight understood that, yeah, Reed is a bad grappler and her takedown defense isn't good. But Melissa Martinez was even worse with the takedown defense. She's primarily a striker, and that's it. And I think I played Reed there, and I was depending on her wrestling, and she did. But against someone like Frey, I don't really see it happening. Frey has an 88% takedown defense, right? And in terms of the striking, Reed's got this karate style. Frey's a little bit more of a boxer. Do I want Frey to be on the feet with Reed? No, I don't. Do I think she's going to be a fish out of water on the feet against Reed? I don't. I don't think that. I think that her boxing will be decent enough where she can keep the fight close. If she mixes in the grappling, which she really, really should, I think she's going to win this fight and look like a heavy favorite. The problem, and I understand why people are hesitant, is that Frey's not shooting a lot. When she should be wrestling, she's often not wrestling. So there's that concern, and I think it's a very fair concern. But me personally, from what I've watched, from what I've seen, I do think Frey's going to use her wrestling. And if she does, I think this is I'm hesitant to call it an easy fight, but I think it's a really good matchup for her. I understand she's 38. He's saying not a seasoned vet. I'm not sure how you can call a 19-fight person not a seasoned vet, but I think people are playing Reed because she's younger and because they think that Frey won't wrestle. That's what it's going to come down to. Will Frey wrestle? If you think she will, like me, you should be backing Frey. If you don't, take a shot on Reed. But now Reed's the favorite. We got Frey as the underdog, and I'm already looking to add because, like I've said time and time again now, I do think Frey's going to wrestle. I really do. And she's got the wrestling to get this job done. So I'm going to be picking Frey here. I do have my bet on her at -145 like a big dumb idiot. But if you can get her at these underdog odds, I like it a lot. I really do. And I'm going to readdress my chat real quick. Steve saying if you're going to hedge Lacerda, you should probably do decision for Blackshear. Don't hate it. I just saw the plus 1,300. Both of them have a ton of subs. And Lacerda's, like you said yourself, often going to the ground by choice. So wouldn't be shocking, but you're probably right in that regard. My guy, Lou Betcha, what's up, brother? Thanks for tuning in. People playing Reed because of her Tapology picture. I'm honestly not sure what that means, but what's good, Lou? Appreciate you tuning in as always. My freaking guy. Make sure you guys check out MMA Engine, Lou, Wheezy, Brady. They run that stuff. They kill it with the content. D's saying split decision. Honestly, probably a really good spot for that. Because if you do have Frey wrestling, right? If Frey's wrestling a lot, what have we seen with these new judges? They don't really care. If you're not doing damage, they don't really care that you wrestled. They don't care that you got the takedowns. So, and all the judges right now seem to have different opinions of how they should be judging. So if I had to pick a split on this card, this would definitely be on top of my list. If I had that bet available for me, I'd probably take it. But here in New York, unfortunately, we don't get split decisions. Lou is saying he expects the split decision to be around plus 375, plus 400. It's interesting. I mean, plus 400, that's what, a 20% chance that it happens. Honestly, I feel like it's higher. So, yeah, that's probably a decent bet. I can't do it, but if you guys can, I'd sprinkle that a little bit. But we're going to move on. Damn, I'm out of water. All right. I'm going to have to drink White Claws instead. Here we've got Daniel Santos versus Johnny Munoz Jr. This is a fight that was supposed to happen a few weeks back, but it didn't happen. And now we get it here. Luckily, I've already broken it down, so I'm ready for you guys. We've got Daniel Santos versus Johnny Munoz Jr. Santos 10-2-0. 28 years old. He's 5'7" with a 67-inch reach, training out of Shootbox Diego Lima. I mean, he's one of the most like typical Shootbox guys. Like if you didn't tell me where he trains and I watched him fight a few times, one of my guesses would probably be Shootbox, because the way he approaches these fights, it's how a lot of those guys do it. It's how Charles Oliveira does it. They come out, do or die. And that's why he almost died against Castaneda. And then the round ended and he did his job and he got the finish. So these guys are tough. They bring the pressure. He's got good striking. He's a little too hittable. His defensive grappling, we spoke about this back when we broke this down the first time. He did fight on the Russian regionals at some point. I always blank on the one guy that I think it's Murad Karimov is his name. Karimov. I always blank. Let me pull it up. But my point is, while I pull up the name of the guy, my point is he got completely out-wrestled. The guy was a fantastic wrestler. He's a Russian on the Russian regional scenes, and he's a good one at that. But Santos did show a really good ability to scramble. He showed good sprawls. He showed good takedown defense. And against a high-level wrestler like that, it was pretty impressive. And it's actually Big Steve right here who pointed that out to me, who told me, look at that. Look at the defensive grappling. And he was right from what I saw. I think Santos has very good ability to scramble. And I think he's good at getting back up. Now, looking at the matchup, right? This matchup in front of us. Johnny Munoz Jr., to me, isn't the most impressive person. People have been loving on him like a lot in his previous fights, and I never completely understood it. Yeah, he probably should have beaten Nate Maness if not for the point deduction. I understand. But you watch the guy, and his striking, when he's throwing, actually, to me, looks pretty good. He keeps it straight. He's got combinations. He does the work. But he's very hittable. He can overextend. And he needs his range. The guy needs his range to work on the feet. Excuse me. And Santos is not going to give him that. He's not. Santos will not stop. He's one of those guys who are a pain in the ass. He's just going to keep going and going and going and going until either Munoz finishes him or he finishes Munoz. I personally think that Santos is going to knock out Munoz. That's what I think is going to happen. The only reason I haven't played it yet is, the first time it opened up, I got Santos at like minus 155. He's like minus 210 now. And at that point, for me, it's kind of a dog or pass. Because Munoz is good at jiu-jitsu. He is a good grappler. And Santos is a little bit of a dummy. He is a little bit reckless. So while I do think he wins, minus 210, I think, is way too wide. Personally, I think it's way too wide. He got taken down by Castaneda, I think, twice. I'll give him credit. He got hurt, and that's why Castaneda got those takedowns. But Munoz, in my opinion, is a little bit of a better wrestler than Castaneda. I think that he can scramble really well here. So Big Steve bringing up Santos has a black belt. Good to know. Obviously important here because Munoz, when he wins fights, it's normally through his grappling. It's not really his striking that's doing the job. So I do think Santos wins, but I don't have a play here. I had a play at the lower odds last time, but at this point, I think it's dog or pass for me. And I don't really want to play the dog, so it's going to be a pass for me probably. Again, follow me at Couch Warrior Pod. I don't know where to point. Right there. Right there, yeah. Follow me there. That's where I post my picks when I make them. If I do bet something here, it's going to be there. But This is a dog or pass fight for me. I do think Santos wins, but I think the odds are no bueno, no good. So we're going to move on. Oh, God. I don't know why they gave us this fight. Literally nobody wanted this fight. All right, we got Andrei Arlovski versus Dante Almaze. Arlovski 34-21-0. 44 years old. Even at heavyweight, he's starting to get pretty damn old. 6'3", 77-inch reach. I do believe he's still at American Top Team. Mays on the other side, he's 9-5-0. He's going to be 31 years old, so he's a good 13 years younger, 3 inches taller with a, let me do some math, 4-inch reach advantage. And let me double check his camp. I don't have anything I couldn't find on Instagram, so we're going to go with Bronx Hill MMA. Look, for me, I've always said this. Andrei Arlovski, at this point in his career, he doesn't lose to mediocre heavyweights. He doesn't lose to middle-of-the-road heavyweights. That kind of got thrown out the window when he got submitted by freaking, what's his damn name? Rogério de Lima. That was not a great look. I mean, when he got submitted by Aspinall, I was like, okay, it's Aspinall. And then he got submitted in the first round against de Lima, which not a great look. But then the question you have to ask, right? What's the question? Can Dante Almaze do that? Can he out-grapple Arlovski? Because I don't think he can outstrike him. Personally, I don't. Arlovski's adapted this new style because he's recognized that he's very old. He's been knocked out a million times. And he plays it a lot safer now. And he's a very, very good minute winner. I don't know how he does it, but he does it time and time again. And against a guy like Dante Almaze on the feet, I have to favor Arlovski. Can Mays take him down? Maybe. The one time we saw Mays really go off with the wrestling was, I think it was Roque Martinez. Let me double check that for you guys. Yeah, it was. No. I apologize. It was Josh Parisian. That's the guy who he completely destroyed. And, you know, he looked like a D1 wrestler there. But I just don't think that it's going to work on Arlovski like it did against Parisian. I really don't. I think Arlovski's going to keep it on the feet. And then is Mays going to do enough on the feet to beat Arlovski? I don't think so. So if Arlovski wasn't 44, I'd be all over this because he's an underdog now. He's like plus 100, plus 105, I saw. If he wasn't 44, I'd be like, damn, okay, let's ride. The fact that he's 44 is definitely throwing me off. The fact that he's definitely on the downside of his career is throwing me off. That said, though, recently he's been doing better than he did back in the day. I know he was champion, but now he's actually winning fights constantly. It's hard. It's hard. I think Arlovski wins. I might get to a play here, but I don't know if I can look myself in the mirror after playing a 44-year-old heavyweight. I'm gonna be too embarrassed. So I don't think I'm gonna do anything at all here. Arlovski, I guess, is gonna be my pick because I think he's at even at 44. I think he's at a higher level than Dante Almaze, but I don't think you should really play this. I really don't. Maybe dog or pass. Definitely don't play Maze here. I don't think it's the move, but yeah, I think Arlovski wins. I think he keeps it on the feet and he pulls his classic Arlovski decision win where it's low output, but he gets the job done. So I'm going to go with Arlovski and we're going to move on to our next fight. I'm going to put you guys on pause soon because I need some damn water, but we can move. We can keep going for now. So next up, we've got John Castaneda versus Muin Gafurov. This is a short notice replacement. It's interesting. Both guys that we have short notice here are from Tajikistan, which is a curious question. Why? Is it just a coincidence or did the UFC want it? Let me address the chat real quick. PTSD from betting this guy against Hamdi. He's talking about Dante Almaze. Me too, brother. Me too. D's, this fight is going to have about 500 hugs. Yeah, if I could bet on cage pushing, I would. Big Steve saying de Lima's no joke. He would run through Maze. I don't know. I'd have to tape it. I don't know exactly, but I get where Steve's coming from. And, oh, dude, Yeah. Collier won that damn fight, man. I had Arlovski, and I don't look. I try not to complain when I get robbed, and when I get the robbery, I try not to say much. That shit made me feel dirty, man. I felt like I had to give money back to people who bet Collier because that was just wrong. It was just the wrong decision. I cashed the ticket. He didn't deserve that win, though. So I definitely agree with you there, D's. And then Crims Namerk. Thanks, brother, for tuning in. Mays beat Muhammad Usman. Did he? I don't remember seeing that, but if he did, what does that even mean? Usman sucks, man. I know he's been winning with the knockouts, but the guy fucking sucks. Let's be real here. And then D's. I was also on the Arlovski side, but it is what it is. And it is what it is, man. I agree with you there. But all right, let's keep moving on. Next up, we've got another short replacement. I was just talking about this. John Castaneda versus Muin Gafurov. Castaneda 19-6-0. He's 31 years old, 5'6" with a 69-inch reach. And the Academy MN is the correct place he's training at. He's one of my favorite nicknames, Sexy Mexi. I think it's hilarious. On the other side, Gafurov, he's 18-4-0, 27. He's going to be 4 years younger, 1 inch taller with a 1 inch reach disadvantage. He's training out of Syndicate MMA. I was able to pull that out of his Instagram. Look, it's tough. Gafurov, since the Contender Series fight against Chad Anheliger, he's looked pretty good. He's had 2 fights in LFA. He won both of them. But to me, even those weren't the most inspiring performances. His thing is wrestling. Going into the Contender Series, if I'm remembering correctly, he was getting pitched as a striker. He got completely outstruck by Chad Anheliger, who, let's be real here, doesn't belong in the UFC. He just really doesn't. So that was a terrible look. Is his wrestling good? Yeah, honestly, I think it's very good. I think his wrestling is very solid. But the problem is, especially with the new judging, is he doing enough damage? Not really. So it can mean nothing to the judges. Like I said, again, it depends on the judge. But recently, we've been seeing this trend where just straight wrestling doesn't get the job done for you. And we kind of saw that in the Anheliger fight, right? Because he got like 5 takedowns in that fight. He got a bunch of control. But he got outstruck on the feet, and he didn't do damage on the ground. And that's why he lost that fight. Castaneda is no joke, man. I mean, the guy has been legit since the day he came in. He came in against Nathaniel Wood on short notice. I remember breaking down that fight, and I was like, this guy's pretty good. Wood's going to beat him, but the guy's pretty good. And, I understand with the Santos fight. I understand the hesitations backing Castaneda as a favorite. He almost got the finish, and then the round ends, second round starts, and he gets finished. But the difference between Santos, who finished Castaneda, and Gafurov is the pressure. Gafurov doesn't pressure like that. Gafurov doesn't strike like that. Santos, he makes his opponents very, very uncomfortable. And it's not something that Muin and Gafurov does. He's a good wrestler, but on the feet, he doesn't have much to offer. So if Castaneda will he get taken down? Yeah. I would bet money that he gets taken down at least 1, 2, maybe even 3 times. But I think he's going to get up. I think he's going to be able to get back up. And on the feet, I really, really favor Castaneda. I think he's a much better striker. He's still improving. He's 31, not the youngest chicken, but he's improving. I mean, it's hard to watch his fights and not think that he's improving. So I think that Castaneda, as long as he's either stuffing the takedowns or getting back up, I think it's all him. And the issue with Gafurov also is it's his cardio. His cardio, to me, it doesn't check out very much. And if he gets to round 3 with Castaneda and Castaneda's scrambling, getting back up, making him work, it might be a really, really hard fight for him. So I took Castaneda. But here's the thing. I'm a moron. I'm an absolute moron. I played Castaneda at minus 175 for a unit. Because in my head, I was like, how could anybody look at Gafurov, look at his Anheliger fight, even the fights after that? How could you look at him and be like, Wow. So that's why I thought Castaneda would be a heavier favorite. So I hit minus 175. Now he's minus 130. If you agree with my breakdown, if you're seeing the things I see, I think Castaneda at minus 130 is a fantastic bet. It all comes down to one thing. Will he be able to get back up? Chad was able to. I think John's going to be able to as well. And I think Castaneda is a much better striker than Anheliger. So if Gafurov's not getting his way, I think it's going to be a rough night for the guys. So I'm taking Castaneda. I messed up completely on the line. Sometimes I do well with the CLV. Sometimes the CLV spanks my ass. This time the CLV spanked my ass. But I still think Castaneda wins. That's going to be my pick here. Let me address the chat real quick. There's not much here. CT saying he thinks Gafurov can and will win fights in the UFC, but not sure that. Yeah, I totally agree. I think that Gafurov does belong here. I think he's going to be a little bit of a middle-of-the-road top 20 guy, but this matchup for him is difficult because, like I said, I do think Castaneda has the counter grappling to keep this up or at least get back up. And the striking, I strongly favor Castaneda. Gafurov not go with the striking defense. I know it's one fight, but 39% striking defense against Chad and Hilliger. It's not a good look, man. So for me, John Castaneda is going to be the pick, and he's already a bet. I got terrible odds. I think he can get better odds than me, but he's going to be the pick here, and we're going to move on in a second. All right. Next up, we've got Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos versus Abubakar Nurmagomedov. Zaleski, he's 23-7-0, 36 years old. He's 5'11" with a 73-inch reach. And in terms of his camp, let me double check what I've got. I don't have anything for his camp, so we're going to have to go with Tapology. Nurmagomedov, 17-3-1. 33 years old. He's going to be 3 years younger. He's going to be the same height, same reach. And I believe he's at AKA. I believe he is. So for me, I know a lot of people don't like Nurmagomedov. I can't exactly tell you why. I think it all comes from that Zawada submission, and people have just never forgiven him since. But I played him as the underdog here. And I got, let me tell you what I got. I think it was like plus 115, plus 120 something. Let me tell you. Plus 115. I put it enough to win back 1 unit on that. And for me, it comes down to, I think people are really just underrating him. I get it. He's not the peak Nurmagomedov that we expect. But first of all, his wrestling is very good. It is. And Zaleski dos Santos, is his takedown defense amazing? No, it's good, but it's not amazing. Even in that absolute beatdown against Benoit Saint Denis, he got taken down 2 times. He got taken down, let me pull it up, by Li Jingliang. So the truth is, if he's fighting wrestlers who are solid at it, he is getting taken down. And he hasn't fought a guy like Nurmagomedov in terms of the wrestling. So I do think he's going to get controlled. And in the striking, do I think that Nurmagomedov is going to be completely a fish out of water? No, I don't. Zaleski, first of all, his output isn't that great, other than the Benoit Saint Denis fight, of course, where he was just dominant. His output isn't that great. And he's, if I remember correctly, he's got a capoeira background, and you can kind of see it with the kicks and whatnot. Abubakar Nurmagomedov, watch the Jared Gooden fight, right? Jared Gooden, I understand he's no longer in the UFC. Me personally, I think he still should be. I think he's good enough, and I think he should still be here. But Nurmagomedov didn't wrestle there. He outstruck him. And I think that showed that his boxing is pretty damn good. He's not just a wrestler. Should he wrestle? Yes. Yes, he has to. He really should. He doesn't have to, but he really should. But is he going to be a fish out of water on the feet? Me? I don't think so. So I think Nurmagomedov wins. Now the line has him at minus 110. It's just about to pick him. I think this is Nurmagomedov. I think he wins this more often than not. So that's my pick. That's my play. I got him as an underdog. I think minus 110 is, I guess it's still playable. I think he could even be the favorite, and it would still make sense to me because people are very they're really focusing in on the striking here, and I think he's a better striker than they think, and I think he's going to bring it to the ground. So give me Abubakar Nurmagomedov here, and we're going to move on to our next fight. So this is another short notice bout. We've got Jamie Mullarkey versus Muhammadjon Naimov. Mullarkey, 16-5-0, 28 years old. He's 6 feet tall with a 74-inch reach. And let me check what I got for him. He's at Central Coast MMA. On the other side, you got Naimov. He's 8-2-0. He's going to be the same age. He's going to be 3 inches shorter, 4-inch reach disadvantage. And as far as I could tell, he is training at elevation. So, look, when this line opened up, I mean, Mullarkey was supposed to fight Guram, right? And Guram, for me, was my favorite pick of the card, even at -300. And then that fight got canceled yesterday as I was on a show talking about that fight. It got canceled. And they gave him Naimov. And, you know, I remember Naimov pretty well from the Contender Series where he fought Colin Anglin. I remember him from LFA. He beat, I want to say his name is Diego Lopez. But I'm I'm mixing up weight classes. Sorry, guys. He fought Anglin. Then he had the Ponce fight. I watched that. That wasn't that impressive. Sitik Madiev, he's an Eagle FC guy. He lost to like this dude coming off a big like gap in his fighting. I think it was like 3-4 years ago, and he still lost to the guy, which wasn't a good look. So I get why people are like, oh, Mullarkey -500 parlay piece. But like, how could you watch Mullarkey and be like, yeah, he should be a -500 over this guy? I don't think he should be a -500 almost over anybody in the entire roster. I mean, I'd have to go dig down to the dirt to find guys that he should be -500. Naimov, in my opinion, is a UFC caliber guy. Is he ever going to be top 15? That's yet to be seen. Me personally, I don't think so. But I think that here he is very live. I mean, would I play him if he was closer, like +200? No, because I do think Mullarkey wins this fight more often than not. But if you're giving me +400, that's telling me a 20% chance that Naimov wins, right? He wins 20% of the time. I'd give him more than that. Mullarkey, good takedown defense, but he can be taken down, and Naimov is going to be shooting. On the feet, I don't like how Naimov is so flat-footed, and I think his striking is just, if I had to rate it out of 10, I'd rate it maybe 6.5. Whereas Mullarkey, maybe I'd rate it 7.5, right? So I think he's a better striker. He's got good power. Is he the rightful favorite? Absolutely. Should he be -500? No, I think that's incorrect. So I had to play Naimov at +400. I put a quarter unit on it to win one. And look, if he gets murked by Mullarkey, we lose a quarter unit. But if we're right, and Naimov isn't as bad as everybody's making him out to be, we're going to look really good. Mullarkey is a great fighter, but he's not amazing. He's not perfect. So -500, I think, is stupid. So this is a major, major dog or pass for me. At +400, it was going to be dog, not pass. So I played Naimov for a quarter unit to win one. I don't think that you should stake too much because I do think Mullarkey's a better guy. But this is a numbers game. This is a long-term game. That's how this stuff works. And when you see a line that's incorrect in your mind, you have to play it, in my opinion. So I think the line is incorrect. I think 20% is incorrect. So I'm playing Naimov quarter unit +400. And we're going to move on. All right. So a few fights I didn't get to tape as much as I could. A lot of you who are returning viewers know I just graduated law school. Now I'm dealing with the bar exam. It's 8 to 9 hours a day of studying. So my time for tape comes at night. That's the only time I could tape. And I don't get a lot of it because I got to sleep too, even though I don't sleep much. So this is what I'm going to tell you guys every time a fight comes up. If I didn't get to fully tape it, this is one of those fights that I didn't get to fully tape. So we've got Karine Silva versus Ketlen Souza. Silva is 15-4-0. She's 29 years old, 5'5" with a 67-inch reach. And I've got her out of Gila Ribeiro team. Souza, 13-3-0, 27. She's 2 years younger. She's going to be 2 inches shorter. I don't have her reach. And let me double check if I got a different camp for her. I do not. So we're going to be going with Team Felipe Rigo. And look, all right. So I get why people like Karine Silva so much. I see a ton of people parlaying her. Would I do it? No. No. But I understand because Souza, her big gap is her takedown defense. Christina Williams is taking her down. She's been taken down before. Her takedown defense is questionable. It's not great. I think she does have a striking edge here. I don't rate the striking of Karine Silva very highly. I don't. So if we remain on the feet, I actually think it's going to be Ketlen Souza who wins this fight. Like, look at the damn, what's her name? Let me tell you. I don't want to say it bad. Yan Kwahi, her Dana White contender series versus Kwahi. Like, watch that fight. Yan Kwahi is a very small woman, and she's a wrestler. First of all, she took Silva down 2 times. And second of all, she did great in the striking against Silva, which is not a good look. Yan Kwahi is not a good striker. And she did a pretty good job against Silva. Souza is a much better striker than Yan Kwahi. So on the feet, I know it's MMA math, but I'm just saying what I see. I think Souza's going to be the better striker. The problem why I'm not running to bet Souza at my plus whatever it is. I think it's like plus 180 now. Let me tell you. Plus 190. I mean, I might still get there, but right now I have to really think about the grappling because that's the problem here. And Silva's very good. She on the ground, she's very, very good. On the feet, no, she's not. On the ground, though, she's a very solid fighter, and Souza does have a deficiency on the ground. So for my pick right now, I'm gonna say Silva. But again, this is one of those fights that I didn't get to tape as much as I'd like to. And if I do bet it, as always, it'll be on my Twitter at Couch Warrior Pod. So the pick right now is going to be Karine Silva. But please understand, there's a big asterisk there. And right now, I'm not playing it. I want to tape this more. I want to see, can Souza survive? And will Silva really be that in danger if she's being outstruck so much? So it's something I have to look at more. Right now, I have to favor Silva, especially if you guys know me. I've said it in the past. If you give me a wrestler versus a striker where most things other than that are even, I'm going to pick the grappler more often than not. So right now, I'm going to pick Karine Silva as my pick. That is not an official bet. If I make anything, it's not going to be on Silva. If I do bet, it'll be the underdog or I'm going to pass. So it's a dog or pass for me. I do think Silva wins, so it's probably going to end up being a pass. But it's one of those fights that I do really, really want to tape more. Let me catch up real quick. Not much here, but Dad's saying he hopes Souza smashes. I think she can win. That's why I'm tempted at plus 195, but I don't know about smashes. I have a hard time seeing her. Like, if you're saying smash, you're saying she either murks her on the ground, which isn't going to happen, or she knocks her out, which, man, I don't really see it. Silva's been knocked out once, but I don't really see it here. So, yeah, Karine Silva's the pick, and we're going to move on. I mentioned to you guys earlier, I really have to pee. So, I'm going to take a 30-second break. Usually, I could just pass it to my host to cover my ass, but I don't have, my guest, but I don't have any guests this week. I wanted to do this one dolo. So, give me 30 seconds, probably less, and we're going to be back, and we're going to continue breaking down that card. So, I'll be right back. All right. Appreciate all you guys. We actually didn't lose a single viewer while I was gone. I did spill water on myself. Filled the water bottle back up. But all right, we're back and let's keep moving. So we've got Tim Elliott versus Victor Altamirano. Elliott 18, 12, and 1. He's 36, 5'7" with the 67-inch reach. He used to be at Glory, as we all know. That fight camp has now been dissolved. From his Instagram, I can't tell where he is. It seems like he's just doing his own thing. So I don't think he's at a great camp. Altamirano on the other side, he's 12-2 and 0. He's going to be 4 years younger at 32. 1 inch taller. He's got a 3-inch reach advantage, and I don't have a camp for him, and neither does Tapology. So we're gonna have to move on without it. But in terms of this matchup, look, I think this is like tailor-made for Tim Elliott. I think it's tailor-made. The one big question mark is the mental, right? We all know what happened with Tim Elliott. I'm not here to talk about it. I'm not going to talk about the drama, the intricacies of it. My only concern from the whole thing, and the only thing I want to talk about, is the mental. Because things like that, especially when they're in the public eye, they're going to affect you. You're going to be reached out to. You're going to have to spend time talking about it. You're going to have to spend time explaining yourself. And that takes a lot of time. That takes a lot of mental. So is he going to be okay here? I don't know. It kind of reminds me of, we just saw this fight, right? Mandy Bohm versus Kim, I'm pretty sure. And Kim was going into that fight pissed because the first time they were supposed to fight, I think it was her grandmother passed. And she missed all of that because she was supposed to fight, and the fight didn't happen. And she made it very clear going into that fight against Mandy Bohm that she was pissed, she was going to be aggressive, and she wanted to get the job done. And part of the reason she lost is because she was so aggressive where she wasn't thinking. And she got 2 points deducted. Yeah, one of those deductions was probably absolute BS, but it happened. And a guy like Tim Elliott, he can be very emotional. It kind of reminds me of he fought, Jordan Espinoza. If you guys remember that fight, he took him down and he had him against the fence. He was ground and pounding him. And Espinoza had, some things came out about him, domestic abuse, whatever. Again, I'm not here to talk about that stuff. But Tim Elliott, while on top of him beating him up, kept bringing it up. He's like, this is what you get. Like, oh, you want to do that? Here you go. And I'm just nervous that he's going to be too emotional. That's my big concern. I don't want him to come into this fight super emotional, making mistakes, because that's how he loses. If he doesn't, if he comes in with a clean mind, I mean, what I see from Instagram is he looks healthy as fuck. He looks good. He looks ripped. He looks ready to go. From what he's saying, he seems ready to go. But I'm just very concerned. All that said, I think he has all the weapons he needs here. I think the striking will be close. I think Elliott could get it done with the pressure and his output. I never really rated Altamirano all that much. And Elliott is, first of all, an incredible counter grappler. We saw that against guys like Tagir, where I don't think Altamirano is going to be able to use wrestling. I don't. I think Elliott's going to be way too hard for him to take down. And if Elliott wants to wrestle, I think he can do it here. I think he does have that edge. I do think he has that ability. And I think he can get it done. So for me personally, I really think that Tim Elliott is going to win the fight. Again, it really comes down to the whole mental. I'm trusting in him to be okay from what I've seen. It is only a 1 unit stake. So originally, I had Elliott parlayed with Guram. I think everybody had that parlay. So now I just have Tim Elliott minus 155 for 1 unit. And I'm pretty happy with it. I considered adding, and maybe I will if I tape it more and see something I like. But again, it's hard for me with the mental. It really is. I do take that into account because I think it's important. So we're going to have to see what happens. Right now, I'm sticking with my 1 unit stake on Elliott, and we're going to move on to our next fight. All right. Next up, we've got Jim Miller versus Jared Gordon. Miller, 35, 17, and 0. He's 39 years old, almost 40. 5'8" with a 71-inch reach. And I don't have a different camp, so we're going with Sussex County MMA. Both these guys are New Yorkers, New Jersey, so it's pretty cool. That's where I'm from. Gordon, 19, 6-0. He's going to be 5 years younger at 34. 1 inch taller. He's going to have a 3-inch reach disadvantage. Renzo Gracie Academy is what we've got for him. Look, if this was Jared Gordon normally, I'd be all over him. But he just got freaking murked. He just got murked. Like, what was it? I have it in my notes. I think just over a month ago, he got knocked out. I understand it became a no contest. There was a headbutt involved. But the dude got damaged severely. He got knocked out. It was very clear. So to come back after like just over a month is a scary proposition to me. I don't know why he's doing it. I get it's Jim Miller. Maybe the thought process is, how is this 39-year-old man going to beat me? And I mean, he's not wrong. On an average day, I would say he beats Jim Miller 8 out of 10 times. But coming off of a knockout loss against a guy like Jim Miller, who does still have power, who does still have the ability to mix it up, it's dangerous. So for me, this fight couldn't be more of a pass. It literally couldn't be more of a pass if I tried. The only thing I've considered, the only one, is violence. And I'm pulling it up right now. Under 2.5 is plus 115. Fight doesn't go is minus 120. I kind of like those spots. I don't know if I'm going to get there because, again, there might be a decent amount of grappling here. We've got a guy in Jim Miller who does like to grapple. And we've got a guy in Jared Gordon who, A, does like to grapple, and B, is a very good defensive grappler. He's very good at either defending the takedowns or being able to scramble or being able to just get back up on his feet. So, again, in a normal time where he didn't just get knocked out, I would say he should be maybe even a heavy favorite over Jim Miller. Jim Miller's 39 years old. It's going to eventually come to a close. I am really hype. I think he's actually going to make it to UFC 300 like he's been saying. But, again, if not for that knockout, I think it's Jared Gordon all day. He's younger, he's a better striker, and he's a great counter grappler. But if that chin really is in trouble, Miller's going to have his opportunities. I don't think he's going to win. I think Jared Gordon's going to win. But I'm probably just going to pass the fight altogether because we have all these question marks. How will Miller look at 39? Is he going to continue to be all right? And how is Jared Gordon? How's his chin? How's his brain? Is he all right? We don't know. So for me, this fight is an incredible pass. If I did anything, it would be violence. I do think we end inside the distance, but right now I'm just passing, and we're going to move on to our co-main event of the evening. Here we've got Alex Caceres versus Daniel Pineda. Caceres 20-13-0, 34 years old. He's 5'10" with a 73.5-inch reach. MMA lab for him, which is fantastic for this weight class. They've got a lot of smaller guys, and we're talking about guys like Sean O'Malley, Kyler Phillips, Casey Kenny, who hasn't fought in a minute. I wonder where he went. We got a lot of great guys at the MMA lab around this weight class, so it's a very good place for him to be. And then Pineda on the other side, 28-14-0. He's going to be 3 years older at 37. 3 inches shorter, 3.5-inch reach disadvantage, 4-ounce fight club is what I've got for him. Look, I don't rate Pineda very high. And again, I told you guys I would let you know what fights I didn't get to do as much tape as I'd like and fights that I have to go back to. And this is one of them. This is a fight where anything I say right now, take. Sorry if you guys hear that outside. Here in New York, we get a lot of loud noise. But like I was saying, this is one of those fights I didn't get to tape as much as I would like to. And I'm going to have to come back to it and make an ultimate decision. But right now, I lean Caceres. I don't think Pineda's that great. I really doubted him against Tucker Lutz, where he looked pretty good and he got the submission win. But I think a guy in Caceres who's made this career turnaround, right, where he's just picking up wins, I think he looks pretty good. The striking in my mind is going to be close. The grappling is going to be close. So again, this is a fight I really have to tape more. But because I don't think Pineda's that good, and he's 37, and he's not improving, he's declining. Whereas Caceres at 34, he seems to be improving. He's doing better than he ever did. So I do think Caceres wins. But in order to give you a method or exactly how it happens, I need to be able to break this fight down more. And I haven't been able to. So again, follow me at Couch Warrior Pod on Twitter. If I make a bet, that's where it's going to be. And right now it's a pass with the lean being towards Alex Caceres. But this is a fight I don't want to spend too much time on because once again, I'm a little unprepared for this one. So we're gonna move on to our main event, a fight I'm very prepared for and very excited for. So we've got Kai Kara-France versus Amir Albazi. Kara-France is 24, 10-0. He's 30 years old, 5'5" with a 66.5-inch reach, training out of City Kickboxing. On the other side, you got Albazi. He's 16, 1-0, 29. He's 1 year younger, 1 inch taller with a, let's call it a 2-inch reach advantage. Let me double check that camp. I do believe he's still at Extreme Code Tour, but his Instagram didn't confirm it. So honestly, like, man, Albazi has been my dark horse. Like, I've been talking about him for a while. I think he's one of the most underrated people in this division. So when I saw the line open up, when I saw the fight come out, I was like, you know what? Even if he's a favorite, I think I have to play Albazi because I really think that he's got what it takes. One sec, guys. I have to give my dog a lift. He has arthritis. Okay. So I really, like, off the top of my head, I was thinking Albazi, but then I taped it. And I love my guy Albazi. I love him, but his striking leaves a lot to be desired. It really does. You watch the Zalgas Zumagulov fight, right? We all know what's up with Zalgas. He's a grappler. He hasn't had the best UFC run. His striking is okay. Zalgas won round 1 in their fight on all 3 judges' scorecards. And it wasn't through grappling. It was through striking, which is terrible. Terrible here. And we've seen in other fights against Costa. Costa landed a ton of shots against him. Costa found success against him on the feet. So while I love Amir, I don't think his striking is on the level of Kara-France. You watch Kai, and once he lets it go, dude is nasty. He'll go to the head. He'll go to your body. Then you don't expect it. He'll come up with an uppercut. Just clean. So clean in the boxing, in the striking. I really like what Kara-France has to offer. The big question mark here, right? Because again, it's a striker versus grappler matchup. So what's the question? Is Albazi going to be able to take him down? Is he going to be able to hold him down? Is he going to be able to submit him or use his jiu-jitsu to win the fight? I think 5 rounds does benefit him a little bit. I like grapplers over a 5-round fight, but it's not always the best thing. I mean, look at the Ricky Simone Song Yadong fight. I thought Ricky's wrestling would be the reason why 5 rounds is better. But then again, if you look at it on the other side, right? You got a wrestler going 5 rounds. If he's not getting his takedowns, he's getting tired. He's getting uncomfortable. And that's where Kara-France is going to take over. So I do have concerns because here's my guy aside hitting it right on nail on the head. 1 back take is all it might take. He's absolutely correct. That might be the case. You look at Kara-France, and there have been multiple concerns with this grappling. Bontorin took his back, and he survived, got the knockout, but it wasn't a great look. That said, it's hard for me to compare the jiu-jitsu of a guy like Amir Albazi to a guy like Bontorin. That's the right person, right? Yeah, Bontorin. Bontorin, from what I understand, is a black belt. He's a Brazilian black belt, and he's very legit. Albazi, if I remember correctly, is a purple belt. Maybe he's been brought up since then. I don't know. But for me, it's hard to decide if he's as good of a jiu-jitsu practitioner as Bontorin is. I do think he has a very strong ground game. I do think he's very slick on the ground. And I do think that if he is finding constant success taking Kai down, that he's going to win the fight. But the more I watched it, the more I thought about it. I mean, look, I get people have thrown Oscarov in the garbage now. It's kind of what MMA gamblers do, right? They bet on a guy as a heavy favorite. He loses. They get so upset. And instead of blaming themselves, they blame the fighter. And then they continue to try to fade them. So Oscarov is probably going to be a great bet soon because he's going to get whatever. And then people are going to be like, oh, he sucks because they lost money on him. And then we're going to back him. And that's kind of just what happens. But he's not ass. Oscarov is a good wrestler. Whatever people tell you, that's just bullshit. He's a good wrestler, and you're tweaking if you say otherwise. And Kara-France did a fantastic job. Yes, he got taken down, but he got back up. And as the fight continued, he defended those takedowns more and more and more and more. And I do think Albazi will slow down. Maybe in round 1, he'll be dominant on the ground. Maybe in round 2. But as the fight keeps going, I don't think he's going to find that ground success. And I think he's going to start to get outstruck. And I think it's going to be a big difference on the feet. I really do. Albazi is a pretty good striker. He's starting to catch up the striking to his jiu-jitsu, to his grappling. And he's going to be top notch. He's still my dark horse. I still think he's going to be a title challenger. But right now, here in this matchup, I think Kai Kara-France is perfectly set up. He's a great counter grappler, like I said. And his striking, in my opinion, is better by a margin than Albazi. So I have to go with Kai Kara-France here. Let me tell you what line I got. I think I got minus 115. Yeah, I got minus 115. I put 1.2 units on it. I wish I got dog odds like everybody else, but I'm very busy right now. Got bar prep going on, and I don't like to just jump into bets without taping. So I had to wait until I had the opportunity to properly tape this fight. When we got main events, I like to really go into it as far as I can, and I did here. And I do think Kai Kara-France, he's going to win this fight. So that's my pick. That's my play. And we just broke down 13 fights. So thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate every single one of you. You guys are the best. You're the reason I do this. And yeah, good luck on this card. It's a little bit of a rough betting card, but I've already got a bunch of money lines I told you guys about. I'll probably be adding as the week goes on. I'll read through all my picks in a second. In terms of what I've got going on this week, tomorrow, I'm going to be on my boy MMA Propaholics show on his channel. Super dope guy, one of the best prop guys in the MMA space, and one of my buddies. So make sure to check that out. Make sure to subscribe to him and watch us tomorrow. Yesterday, I went live with VB MMA. I know a lot of people know him from the space. I got lucky enough that I got invited to his show. That was a great time. So make sure to run that one back. The guy's super sharp. And lastly, in terms of stuff I might do, I'm going to do my usual props Twitter space with MMA Propaholic. I'm going on a show, but we're still going to do the space. And in terms of regionals, it's highly unlikely that I'm going to have the time to put something out. If I do, it'll be for Cage Warriors. But again, I think it's going to be unlikely. I will have bets. I'm going to break down those fights. I just probably won't be doing notes and stuff that I need to break it down and do a video. But I will probably be placing bets if I like something. As always, it'll be on Couch Warrior Pod on Twitter. That's where I'm going to put it. So make sure you're following me there. And because I won't be doing a video, I'll try to include a little bit of a breakdown so you guys understand why I'm going the way I'm going. And that's it, guys. So thank you all so much once again for tuning in. Good luck to every single one of you. Let me read off my bets real quick, and then we're going to dip the hell out. So Kai Kara-France, minus 115, 1.2 units. Abubakar Nurmagomedov, plus 115, 0.87 units. That's a bit win back one. Oh, sorry. There we go. John Castaneda, minus 170, 1 unit. Messed that up. Muhammadjon Naimov, plus 400, quarter unit there. Jinh Frey, minus 145, again. Messed up the line, 1 unit. And then Luan Lacerda, plus 113, 1 unit. Beat the CLV there. And then I've got Tim Elliot. He was supposed to be a part of a parlay. Guram's out. So now it's 1 unit at minus 155 on Elliot. And the only total I have so far is Karine Silva, Ketlen Souza, under 2.5, minus 110, 0.5 units. You know, if you really think about it, most of the upside, finishing upside there is on Karine Silva. So I wouldn't blame anybody who just played her ITD rather than the under 2.5. But I'd rather cover my bases. If we've learned anything over the last 2-3 years, is that anything can happen. Bilal Muhammad can get a knockout, no matter how much you think he can't. Things can happen. Jerry Prochaska can submit Glover Teixeira in the 5th round with 30 seconds left to go, even though you don't think it'll ever happen. So you have to cover your ass. And I'd rather be safe than sorry. So I'm playing just the under 2.5, not the ITD. And that's it, guys. So that's my slate right now. Going to keep it updated. Going to keep posting on Couch Warrior Pod. And once again, good luck and peace out.